Reddit seduction, self-improvement and pickup. Time wasters. Red flags to look out for in girls. I've talked to tens of thousands of girls on Tinder/online dating/in person over the last 15 years of my life, and if there's one thing I've done a lot of, it's wasting time on girls who were never ever going to actually meet up with me for sex. I've spent thousands of hours having go nowhere conversations with girls who were just wasting my time. I was so frustrated by having my time wasted when all I wanted was to just get laid. A few times I was even driven to tears by the frustration and hopelessness of I'll never get laid. Girls are just here to duck me around and string me along. Eventually I got to a point where I decided, okay, no more. I will never allow a girl to waste my time ever again. Side note, my advice here runs counter to what most pickup artists say. They say you should be hanging in there and never letting any girl go and putting up with her time wasting because you can win her over with sick backquote game. Ignore that unless you like having your time wasted and don't like sticking your penis in actual vaginas. A ton of pickup artists, most of them, think women are an alien species that can only be communicated with via childish negs and pre-rehearsed perfect lines. Unless a pickup artist shows proof they actually get laid regularly, dismiss most of what they have to say. I wanted to get laid efficiently and with minimal fuss, so I worked my butt off trying to figure out what the signs of a time waster were and how to avoid them. The following are all the red flags I now look out for on Tinder/in real life. If any of them seem a bit weird and make you go, how is that a red flag? That behavior doesn't seem so bad. You're just going to have to trust me. I've had sex with a lot of girls, and I've had my time wasted by many more. Or better yet, because we often need to experience something for ourselves in order to truly believe it. Reading my blog won't always be enough to convince you. You should go out yourself and try having sex with 500 girls who exhibit the behaviors listed below. You'll find out for yourself if those girls end up wasting your time or making sex extremely difficult/a lot of work. After all, taking action and figuring it out for yourself by making mistakes is one of the best way of learning. Caveat: beggars can't be choosers. Noobers need to do whatever it takes to get laid. If you're unhappy with your current sex life, then you'll have to tolerate having some of your time wasted because you need to be desperate in your attempts to get laid. That'll naturally mean you put up with more less HHH, but it'll pay off. You'll get laid more. Once you're a little further down the track, have a few lays under your belt, and want to be more efficient, you can start filtering out the time wasters. I'm also not saying the things on this list are complete deal breakers or apply 100% of the time. They're just red flags that make me stop and ask myself, is this girl just going to waste my time? If you're a newbie, answer that question with, who cares? I need to do everything I can to get laid. It's okay if my time is wasted a bit, but still within reason. If you're more advanced, you may choose to instantly unmatch time wasting girls, which is what I do, because you've learned from experience that in this case, the juice is not worth the squeeze. The point of this post is to get you thinking and show a few ways you can save yourself a bit of time and stress, and thus get laid with a whole lot less drama and effort. Short answers/low effort responses. Most humans already know this one. If someone gives one word answers to all your questions and doesn't even try to hold a conversation with you, they're probably not that into you. Yet I'll be damned if I haven't seen 10,000 examples of guys still trying to carry on the conversation with a girl who's giving absolutely nothing back, desperately hoping maybe, just maybe, they'll say the right thing and she'll suddenly open up. 99% of the time, if a girl's barely responding, you ought to cut her off. I'd even go so far as to say, if you're a total newbie, egg a virgin, you still shouldn't be wasting your time with a girl who makes it so darn obvious she's not that into you. Cut her off and go find another girl. I have a heap of screenshots examples of Tinder conversations I've had with time wasters. Let's talk for a bit longer before I give you my number. let's talk for a bit longer, and I'm not comfortable giving my number out too soon are the absolute death of a conversation. The equivalent of smashing headfirst into a wall at 200 km/h. Any girl who utters this phrase is usually a time waster who never plans on giving you her number, let alone meeting with you and having sex with you. She's either trying to waste your time because she's just killing time chatting to guys because she's bored, or has some serious baggage/past bad experiences that are causing her to really hold back and be overly cautious. She's not the type of girl we are aiming for. Hey, if you want closed off girls with heaps of baggage who take weeks/months of conversation before they'll have sex with you, be my guest. It might be tempting to keep talking to her in the hopes that, if you chat for long enough and just be patient enough, she'll eventually become comfortable and will give you her number. That's almost always a fool's errand. Maybe girls. Could means I'm not, but feel free to keep wasting your own time by talking to me. Just like the low effort answers above, any girl who uses words like maybe, could, possibly, I dunno, instead of an actual answer to your question. Especially when you pitch the actual meetup, if you ever get a maybe, unmatch immediately. You want yes girls. Enthusiastic girls are always way more fun. If you said to me, hey Andy, let's go on a road trip on the weekend. It'll be so much fun. And I reply to you with maybe wouldn't that take the wind out of your sails a bit and make you feel deflated? I have an example of a girl saying, I'm not interested, which is the most roundabout way of saying I'm on the fence and would like you to keep talking to me for a few more hours before I decide to say yes or no. She obviously never responded to the last message. Taking days to reply to your messages. Note, this chick took 3 days to reply to my text message, which is slow as hell. Note this was via text. If we are talking about the first few messages on Tinder, you should expect girls to take a few hours/maybe a day to reply to your messages. But once you get her actual number and text her, any reply that takes longer than 1 day is her being silly. Normally I'd immediately just block this girl's number without replying, since she took so long to reply. But I tried to keep the conversation going for the sake of this post, to show you she'd eventually stop replying anyway. The things I have to do for science. Quick caveat, sometimes girls are busy, and they have hundreds/thousands of other matches they could be talking to, so you can't expect them to reply instantly to whatever you say. But if a girl takes 2 or 3 days to reply to each message, then you're less likely to actually have sex with her, and B, with such a slow response rate, even if you did end up meeting and having sex, it'd take weeks to get to that point. Exceptions do exist. I've had sex with a couple of girls who took 2 or 3 days to reply. But keep your expectations low, and don't be disappointed if one day she just stops replying to you entirely. It's almost never worth the amount of effort and patience it takes to wait 2 days between replies. You want to meet most girls as soon as you possibly can, ideally the same day or next day you match with them. When you first match with someone is when they are most excited to meet with you. That dies off the longer you wait. Strike while the iron is hot. So if a girl takes too long to reply, the excitement dies off, or was never there in the first place. I'm too busy. This girl never replied to the text message I sent her. That's the point at which I'd delete her, but for the sake of this post I jumped back on Tinder and sent her the what happened message you see above. Life's been hectic equals I'll never actually meet you. As mentioned above, the longer you wait before meeting up with someone, the less excited they'll be to meet you. So if when you pitch a meetup time and place, she says, my schedule is too busy this week, 9 times out of 10 you'll never end up meeting her. If she can't even fit in an hour for a quick drink/coffee with you at some point in her week, she's not that serious about meeting you. I always text, I get it. I don't chase girls though, so if you want to meet, shoot me a text when you have some free time, and we'll grab that drink. Peace. Then you can delete her number, because they almost never actually hit you up later on. Put her out of your mind and move on. And on the tiny chance she messages you a few weeks later and doesn't meet you, she'll be like a nice unexpected bonus. I can't tell you. When I'm free usually translates to I'm not all that bothered about meeting anyone at the moment, and my free days are going to be spent on watching Netflix in my pajamas. Needless to say, this girl didn't end up texting me. Silly answers / responses. Girls who give a really silly answer to a question you ask, or a comment you make, to the point where they are not making a joke, but actually ignoring your message, are just ducking with you. This one happens way more on a Friday / Saturday night, especially late at night when all the girls are drunk. They'll open up Tinder and will just send stupid shit to guys to duck with them, often with their friends sitting next to them, egging them on. Caveat, I don't mean when a girl gives one silly answer or makes a little joke. A sense of humor is great and fairly rare in women. I'm talking about when a girl makes multiple jokes that completely ignore what you're saying, as in the example above, or she makes a joke that's a thinly veiled insult. Banter is fun, but a girl being obnoxious or ignoring what you're saying is something else entirely. She's usually just out to waste your time. In the rare cases you actually meet with her, do you really want to give your time to a girl who actively ducked with you? Or would you rather find a sweet chick who's socially aware and wasn't raised by wolves? Girls who initiate sexual conversation. This one throws a lot of guys off, but a girl who initiates dirty texting, or sexting, as the ducking kids are calling it these days, with you, as in, she steers the conversation towards explicitly dirty texting, not just flirting, will rarely meet up with you. I have an example of a girl's first message being, "Would you care for casual sex?" This girl ended up being a total nutcase. Meeting her was not wise. Generally speaking, girls don't take the lead, and certainly not in such a blunt, unfeminine way with dirty / crass texting. Any girl who starts talking dirty out of nowhere is ducking with you. B. Getting some validation. C. Feeling horny in that moment and just trying to get herself off. Then she'll quickly move on once she's done. D. Batshit crazy. We'll deal with D in a secretary, but let's focus on C. Most guys think if they are dirty texting with a girl, they are making progress towards having sex with her, but it doesn't work out that way. I spent decades dirty texting with girls and found it actually lowered my chances of sleeping with them. There's various reasons for this, including the more you dirty text her, the more you're saying if we meet, we will definitely be having sex. Girls like a little plausible deniability. They like to be able to say I didn't plan on having sex with him. It just happened. Tee-hee-hee. If you talk dirty with her for a long time, you've removed that deniability for her. It'll be expected she puts out. B. That expectation of sex will create a lot of pressure and make her damn nervous, making her more likely to flake. C. She was likely just texting dirty with you to get herself off, which means once the horniness is gone, she has no need to keep talking to you or meet you. D. By dirty texting and telling her all the things you're going to do to her when you meet up, you're killing the magic and ruining the surprise. Girls love meeting you without quite knowing what will happen. They get a rush from not being in control. If you remove the magic and tell her every little thing that'll happen, you've removed most of the impetus to actually meet up with you. And most girls who initiate the dirty texting end up being batshit crazy. I have a few examples of this from my own experience. I had to get burned multiple times before I finally learned my lesson. High maintenance / demanding / bossy girls who tell you what to do / expect to get their own way / are bossy / etc aren't your best bet for fun, laid back, easy dates and sex. Pickup artist nerds would say this is just a shit test. Here's my thoughts on that. Girls who tell you what to do, or tell you what to say, or tell you off for saying the wrong thing to them are going to be an absolute nightmare to be around. Would you accept that behavior from one of your mates, being told what to do and how to behave at every turn? No? Then don't accept it from the girls you give your time to. I texted a girl, "Hey sexy, it's Sandy from Bumble. Sup?" To which she replied, "I prefer beautiful than sexy, thanks." I lost interest after her first message. That's the moment I'd normally block her. Made a joke for this post because why not? Another bossy girl who'll spend more time focusing on every little thing you're doing wrong than just chilling and enjoying your company. Ironically, the only people who are going to put up with such a poor / rude attitude are weak men. The exact guy she's saying she doesn't want. Not answering a direct question, her answer to "do you want to try BDSM?" as I was a bit hesitant to respond, which doesn't answer the question at all. As expected, she stopped replying. You ask a direct question and she doesn't acknowledge it, or changes the subject. I always say that's not an answer to my question. If she doesn't immediately say "whoops, sorry, here's the answer," then she's a time waster. Some girls almost take pleasure in seeing how many times they can message you in a row without addressing your question, like it's a weird game for them. You'll ask the question multiple times and she'll still sidestep it, which just comes across as socially inept. It's weird as hell. Unmatch / block those girls immediately. You should unmatch / delete these girls. Whenever a girl exhibits one of these time waster behaviors, I always unmatch them from Tinder or block their number from my phone. In the screenshots above, the only reason I carried on conversations was for the purposes of this article, to show you, even if I tried to keep talking, the girls weren't really that into me and would stop replying anyway. There's 2 reasons for blocking / unmatching. I want to be able to completely forget about her and move on to talking to more girls. I don't want her to bother me looking for more attention in a few days when she's bored. This second point happens a lot. The type of girl who's happy to waste your time on Tinder / a Cupid / etc is a type of girl who'll hit you up the next time she's bored, just to say hi. You'll assume her contacting you means she might actually want to meet now, so you'll throw out, "Hey, let's grab a drink while you're free," only to be met with a lame excuse or no reply at all. Better to block / unmatch time wasters, so they never have a chance to waste your time in future. Life's too short to spend it chasing ghosts. There's a million other girls out there who won't play games and will make it easy for you to meet up with them. The takeaway: no matter if you're a newbie to getting laid / finding a girlfriend, or a guy with 100 lays under his belt, you'll benefit from keeping an eye out for girls who are just looking to waste your time, avoiding them wherever possible. Guys almost inevitably get to a point where they express frustration with how much of their time is being wasted. It's something we all have to deal with at some point. When you hit that point of frustration, come back to this post, read over it again, and see if you can spot any time wasting behaviors from the girls you've been chatting to recently. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for your time.